Source Podcast.
Warning, viewer discretion is advised. Today's episode discusses the Itaewon incident on Halloween in South Korea.
Okay, I'm back. Molly's back.
Hashtag Molly's back.
She's back.
After what? 3
Guess who's back?
episodes?
Back.
Back.
Is it 3 episodes?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah,
Guess
I was.
who's back? Guess who's
Well,
back?
I have
Guess who's
recovered.
back?
I mean,
Guess
I
who's
was already
back?
recovered, but
Guess
my
who's
mouth
back?
was just not functioning.
And then you want to go, get it, girl. Get it, girl.
Take her to the flow. Show her how you roll. Drop it.
I was like watching y'all on the video to see if you guys did it correctly. I can't even do it either, so.
Or listening to know all the words. So.
I'm so sad they didn't make it into an actual song. Song.
Yeah. We can just ask Will I Am online.
That's true.
Hey,
I'm pretty sure
Will I
he
Am.
probably
We
did.
really like that song.
We need a full version.
We need a full version.
Full version.
Okay, sorry. We're off track.
Okay, well, my topic today, I don't know if you guys do this on a daily, but like you guys listen to like, I wouldn't say podcasts, but like just people talking about other topics. And one of the girls I was listening to, she was talking about the incident that happened in, is it Itaewon in Korea?
Uh-huh.
That happened, I think it was in 2022. And she was talking about the Halloween incident. Have you guys heard about that?
Yes.
So like,
Yeah.
apparently there is some rumors about the Popo side, cause
What, like they planned that?
like no, not really planned, but there were some sketchy things. Is what it was.
Okay.
So okay, I had to write everything down because it was crazy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so in October of 2022, that's when Korea, I think, finally released their COVID restrictions, because you guys know how crazy South Korea was with their COVID restrictions, where they couldn't like
Yeah.
leave and everything.
Yeah.
So they finally released it in early October, and October it's Halloween. So I think for Itaewon like, I wouldn't say city. It's like a district in Seoul. Seoul is a city in Korea, South Korea. I don't know. It's complicated. I don't know how that works, but
No, that sounds about right. It's
Is that what you
like
say?
It's a county?
district. It's a district, like, you know how we have the Blue Dome district downtown?
yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
that. But then like Itaewon is also part of a province
Okay.
that's in Seoul.
Okay.
So they're part of the I think the Yongsan. Or no, I think Yongsan province is like nearby. But I'll get to that city
we
later.
probably need like a map to show that later.
Yeah.
Insert map.
I'll probably do that. But then like, so Itaewon, I guess it's known for like their food, like their street is like known for like foods and like clubs and everything, for like basically the nightlife basically is usually popular in Itaewon. And so like I said, the COVID restrictions were finally lifted in October. So, and then you know how like I said, Halloween is like a very big holiday for South Korea. And so where they said was Itaewon is the most popular place where Halloween occurs. And so, let's see. Yeah. So, masks mandated were finally released or
Like
lifted.
lifted?
Yeah. Lifted. And so everyone, it's Halloween month, so everyone's going to be like, hey, let's go to Itaewon
Party it
to
up.
party, And then this girl was listening when she was talking about this. She gave a timeline to everything. So I am just going to go by a timeline that she provided.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let's see. The way how Itaewon, or the street, they call it the, what do they call it? The food street. I wrote it down. Hold on. I'm getting there. I think I wrote it down somewhere.
You have failed public speech.
Hey,
If this was a class, you have
I
failed.
wrote this like 2-3 weeks ago, like a month ago. So it's been like so long. Well, anyway, it's called about like something about like a street area. It's just like the main street of Itaewon where all the food vendors are and where all the clubs and everything are. And so that is really close to the subway station. So which is, you know, Korea, their main source of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to draw this diagram, okay, of how this alleyway was. So there's a specific alleyway that connects the food bar area to the subway station.
Okay.
Oh, you're
So-
gonna have to like upload that picture.
Yeah, either that or you can also get this online. There's a lot of
Oh,
street line. So I'll show. Our editor will show a little diagram, but for the girls here, I had to show it here. So in this thing area here, so this is the main subway station, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
So and then there's this little alleyway here between. I think on the right it's a hotel, and then on the left there's like little shops, like little
mini
restaurants
shops,
here,
uh-huh.
yeah, right. And so from what they were saying was it was only this area is only 10 feet wide and maybe like 130 feet long, and then there's it.
Very small.
It's very small and it slopes down, so it's a hill.
Okay.
So
Wait, it slopes down towards the subway or slopes down towards the bar
The food
street?
bar.
it's towards the food bar.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff that happened there. So I'm gonna have to go with the timeline. So
Okay.
at 6:30, this is not even it's okay. So the major incident happened at 10 p.m. So this is like 3.5 hours before the big thing happened. So 6:30 that was the first 911 call, but in Korea I think it's 112. And so for this one, I think a girl called that it was already starting to get like a little busy and it's like crowded and everything. So on this in the 10-foot wide alleyway, it's both ways. So
Yeah.
people they are going to the food bar and people are leaving to the food bar. And so one like girl, she called because she was already having trouble going back and forth, and she was telling the police people like, "Hey, you need someone to come and like monitor this because it's going crazy."
Direct traffic?
Yeah.
To direct and everything. But and then I guess when the call heard, he was just like, "Okay, we'll send someone over there to like monitor." They didn't send anyone,
Of course.
honestly. And then they did not have anyone check until like maybe between 7 and 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
How long is that after the first call?
That's like 30
Oh.
30 minutes.
So
30.
30 minutes for them to respond.
30 to an
To
hour.
send someone?
Yeah. But then like from what I was hearing was like before 9 p.m. only 4 officers were sent to like monitor, but they didn't do anything. They just like kind of looked, saw everything seemed fine. And then they just left. They didn't do anything. And so like by 7 p.m., that's where like they're getting started. Music is starting to kind of like pop out. It's not too loud yet, but the people are already getting drunk by this time and they're already at the streets and everything. And so later on in the night, sorry, that's like 4 pages. Okay. So right now, yeah, so 7 p.m., everyone's starting to it's starting to hype up in the night. And so everyone's just starting to come in and like going through the alleyway. And at this point, there's a lady that senses that like this is not going to be well. So I think there's like a pole there. And so
Like a telephone pole?
kind of like that. So she stands on that pole and she's like yelling at people to like move and like hurry up and go and back and forth. She's like monitoring this and she's like going back and forth. Back and
directing
forth.
traffic?
Yeah, so she's directing all this because it did not feel right. Like something was not right for her. So she decided to do this for a while, for like maybe like an hour to like 30 minutes until it was manageable. Because I think also at this point, music wasn't that loud, so everyone could hear her. So she's over here standing over there yelling at people to like move. This person goes here, this person that goes there. And then like,
People were actually listening to her?
yeah, because I guess it was just that crowded, but it was still like somewhat manageable to where they were able to like listen to her and go back and forth. So,
cool.
And then I think, let's see, I think there was a story about a girl, I think one of the girls who fell. And then she was saying she was walking, and then I think the girl in front of her fell. And then, of course, the domino effect. She fell over her, and then the people behind her fell all over her. And so that was basically like doing that domino effect. But then I think she said that someone grabbed her and lifted her up and then took her to the side restaurants and bars and stuff. I'm thinking they're restaurants. And so they had her there and let her like breathe for a little bit if she was fine and everything. And so she said she was fine, but I think like her chest and everything was starting to hurt. And so they had her rest there for a little bit. And then she was trying to exit the alleyway. So the only way she could do it at this time was to walk along the walls. But that too was also difficult because it was just like so tight and people were just eager to go back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And so, but like, and then back to where I was saying where, like I said, police officers were sent four times and they didn't do anything. And then after those 4 officers, there was no dispatches after that, after 9 p.m. So that was like an hour before all that happened. The big thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a live streamer there that was also in the little, that happened to be there. I'm guessing it's before. But she was in the alleyway and she was saying like, it was so crowded that her little, I think it's like a fanny pack or like a crossbody bag.
Mm-hmm.
It broke and she lost it in the crowd. And like it was so tight to where she couldn't even like look at the ground and look for it.
Yeah.
So she managed to get out of the crowd and she actually went to the police station to report that. But like, hey, I lost my bag in the alleyway and so forth. And then she was also like telling the police officers like, you guys need to send someone down there. The alleyway is it's too crowded. You guys need cops there to like manage everything. And then I think and then from what I heard, what I was reading is that they kind of brushed that off. And the only main concern they were talking about was her bag that was lost. And they're just like, well, I just hope that someone towards the end of the night will turn in your bag,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll keep a lookout and so forth. But then, like, she was just sitting there like, no, you guys really need to monitor the crowd that's happening in the alleyway. But they kind of just ignored her, yeah. And so she was just surprised that they weren't worried about the crowd, and then they just ended up leaving because she couldn't really do anything else besides report that her bag was missing. And
They were more concerned about her bag than the crowd.
yeah, and I'm just like,
Which is weird because it's like it's a bar area, so I figured there'd be multiple police officers there
Right.
in general because it's a
Well,
it's a moving and grooving place.
I don't know, probably because like the culture overseas is different because they're not
Compared
as
to us.
crazy as us Americans,
Right.
where they require to have cops out because Americans are crazy.
Crazy. Okay.
Whereas Asian people, they're a little more, what do you call it?
Civilized?
Yeah, a little more civil, or like they, have friends who kind of like drag them away too. So,
Okay.
but anyway.
Okay,
but
keep going.
yeah. So that was like around 8 p.m. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 9 p.m. comes by. And so there's another streamer, a guy streamer that goes, and then he's like streaming, You can see like, I think there's videos of it on the websites and online and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can see that he's having fun, in the beginning, and then and then they use the alleyway to get to like the streets, the food street. But like you can see that his face kind of changes, and I think he ends up like ending the stream. But then he does tell like you can tell that he's like very uncomfortable, and then he was struggling, and then I think he also said like the girl next to him was struggling and she was screaming, for help and everything.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
Something
she was
like that.
screaming and everything, and then he said that he saw her face and it turned purple.
Oh.
And like he was at the point where he couldn't help her either because it was that tight to where he couldn't like lift his hands up and like he couldn't even move his hands or anything.
Wow.
Yeah, so they got like that. And then he was saying that the ledge there. Okay, so in this little alleyway, I think there's like a ledge. They say a ledge, but to me, why? Okay, sorry,
Ledge.
a ledge. But I think honestly, I think it's like the staircase like to the hotel. You know, like that side stairwell that most hotels have.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the ledge that they're talking about. But he was saying like this. He was able to. He saw the ledge, and this guy in a jean jacket was able to help lift him up into the ledge. And then he also saw that the jean jacket guy was also helping other people to get onto the ledge. And so he was helping that guy lift up some people, but then they were lifting up so many people to where the people up on the ledge was like,
No more people?
don't send any more people up here. Yeah, because there were so many people up there.
Yeah.
And so they're telling the jean guy that he's like, okay. She's like, just let me do one more person.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay. And so he finally managed to do one person. And then I think the jean guy, he was the last person to like get onto the ledge. But then rumors said that I think he stayed to the very end helping people
Get out.
like helping people at the end, to like them to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he helped with like the medical wise,
But
but he was there to save those people. But I think they said that he was able to save more people at the end of the night. So I was just sitting there. I was just like, oh my god, that's scary. And I think they also said the ledge was like no bigger than half a classroom. So I'm like trying to imagine the Korean dramas because their classrooms aren't that big, to my knowledge.
I would say like maybe a good 20, 25 people
Yeah.
that can be sat down in the classroom nicely.
Yeah. So I was just imagining that, and I'm just like, dang, that's a lot of people that he technically saved.
honestly, I would have been the Gene guy because I can't stand there and just watch people do that. So I would just
Wait,
be
is
like,
this before the incident happened? He
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
helping
before-
out.
yeah,
Okay.
This
before
is
the
9
big-
p.m.
Okay.
Like before the actual thing.
Question. Sorry, I put my hand up. Question. Okay. So, when you're talking about this alleyway, it's just this alleyway that's packed, right? But like the
Yes.
subway and everything else is
Yes.
not packed?
No,
it's just this alleyway?
I think this alleyway
the
is
entire-
just the main
this is where the main
that's the main pathway that everyone takes to
Right.
go to Food Street because it's it leads directly to the train.
Okay,
the train
but like for
station.
this entire incident that happened,
Yes,
was
all
it
this was
the
happened-
whole thing
this all happened just in the
in the alleyway.
in the alleyway.
Okay.
Because if I remember correctly, like the people up here were like at the top of the slope, didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, they didn't know what was going on, but then like the people were saying like there's like crowds at the end, both ends. So whether or not if you're like walking by, you're just gonna get sucked into it because there's so many
that's
people
my other
going back
question
and
too.
forth.
Because I'm a fat girl. Okay, I don't like touching other people, or I feel like I'm bigger than I am, and so I'm like, if I feel like I'm not gonna fit, I'm not gonna go, or I don't want to walk over there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I did wonder about that too. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I was
kinda
like,
you
so-
already see how packed
Right?
it is. Like,
So did
why
y'all
would
just like squeeze through? Because I
Yeah.
wouldn't have. I
But I'm
would've just
pretty
been
sure
I'm
like the
fat,
subway
I can't do
station
it.
and like the food street was already packed, so you are not aware of what's happening in the alleyway because all the people that were trying to get into the alleyway did not know what was happening in the alleyway.
So is there another alleyway?
Yeah,
like, on
there's.
the other
I think
side
there's
where people
other
can do?
ways to get into it, but this was just
Oh,
directly
the
right in front of
main-
the station.
Oh, the main popular one.
Yeah, so this
Okay.
was just a popular area that people would just go through it in and out.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, like I said, 9 p.m. That's when music is loud. So like people are like
Oh.
yelling, and like
Can't hear the scream.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
hear anything.
Oh my god.
And then I think around this time, there was a police officer that is not on duty or not, at least not assigned to that area. He comes and he notices all of this. So he's just like trying to like yell at people, trying to direct the crowd and everything, but it's just not happening because, like I said, the music was loud.
no one can hear him?
No one was listening. It's Halloween, so everyone's in costumes and everything. So they didn't really take it seriously. So I think there's videos of him, standing there. You can see he's yelling at people like to go home, to avoid this area, go home, go a different way, or so all that. But then
Right.
people are just walking around
He
ignoring
had no
him.
megaphone or anything.
No, because I think since he was not assigned to this
Right,
area,
right.
it would be a waste of time for him to get to his station to grab one and come back. So he felt like there was no point of going because by the time he comes back, it's probably even worse.
Okay.
And so I think he was also interviewed, and he said he felt so bad because he really would go get that like megaphone, but he'd rather be there and try to manage
Do what
it.
he can.
Yeah, do what he can. So
Oh.
you can tell in the interview that he felt so bad of all the people that lost their lives. And I'm just like, oh, how sad. Because you can hear in his voice that he feels so bad, but he really did try his best.
Yeah.
And so, and then I think there's videos and pictures of, I think by the food street there is like a little space between like medics. I think they sent only like maybe a few officers around this time, so they were trying to direct the crowd around this time. And I think there was like from this thing I was saying, I think there was like a space, like an empty space, and there was a whole crowd of people, and then people were saying like, why don't they use that like that space there, that or like to like make the crowd like a little less crowded. But then people did not know that there was a pile like right there of people in front of that space. Like they were stacked on top of each other. People were saying that this pile was up to 13 feet tall
Of people.
of people.
Is this after the accident?
No, this is still before the big thing.
Oh.
So people were already falling. Basically.
Yeah, they were falling, and so because of that, it blocked the entrance. Like on I'm guessing it's the food street because it's at the bottom of the hill.
Oh, hell
Yeah,
no.
it was already blocking right there.
Yeah, so people were trying to get over, or trying to like push and push, but they don't realize that there's a pile of people up there, and then imagine the people at the very bottom. I'm just like, and people were complaining about like that these people, like these drunk people and everything, but I'm like, I don't think they're drunk people. It's just like
People who
It's
fell
anxious
over.
people who can't go out, and so now that they finally are able to go out
Yeah,
and
that's like-
celebrate, people act like a fool. Okay, people act like they've never been outside before, which is honestly true.
yeah. And then don't forget
And
that I think
so-
COVID thing for Korea, it was like 3 years.
Yeah.
So they were inside for 3 years. They're finally out for At least Halloween was the first holiday that ended up popping up for them. And so but then people, back to that pile. It's like 13 feet tall, and then physics. It's at the bottom of the hill, so everyone's there, and people were like trying to push and everything, and then all these people were trying to get these people out, getting up, but then they're not able to get these people out because everyone in the back are pushing. So at this point, that's when they were reporting that people were so close to each other that they were hovering over. So like basically, it's basically like shoulder to shoulder, and they can't move their hands, whether if their hands are up or down, and then the people's feet will be dangling. That's why they're in those pictures. There's so many shoes on the floor. There's like shoes, bags, I think some clothing too. And so I think there was a story of a Malaysian guy that was able to call his friends during the crowd surge. And he was telling his friends that he was trying to save a girl. And so that was right next to him. And so he was like telling his friends that he was trying to give her as much space as possible. But that was really hard to do for him because he himself was already struggling to get air.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point he was holding like the girl's hand. And then he was
Aw.
talking about with his friends that like her hand became cold. And then the phone hung up because he wasn't able. I don't think he made it because of the crowd surge. And then I'm just like, oh my god, how sad! Like hearing these people's stories. And then 10:30, y'all. This is where the big thing happens, right? So finally at 10:30, the fire department was called, and the first 4 ambulances came, and then later on 6 more came. And then
Police was also finally dispatched.
yes, they were finally dispatched, and then these police people were just not. I think these people were just doing whatever their higher ends were telling them to do, which was trying to direct the crowd. But you can't really do that from there.
You can't do that when people are already smushed and there's piles of people by this point.
Yeah, and then it wasn't just like high school kids and like early college kids, right? So like they were also said like there were middle school kids who there were there too, and there were also families because there was a family, I think a mom and a dad and a child, and they were just trying to get past just to get to the station because I don't think they were there for like the party and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They were just there to go home after like I think eating at a restaurant. And so people were saying that they saw that the dad was carrying the child higher up so it doesn't get squished. So the crowd was able to help them carry the kid to the nearest restaurant that's in the alleyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what happened to the parents because they haven't said anything about the parents. So hopefully
Oh my god.
they made it. But I don't know. I wasn't able to like research it, like everything. And then let's see. I think there was also an actor. I don't think we know who this actor is, but it was like a rookie actor. There was a girl that I think said that she got stuck in the crowd, and so she fell, and so this actor was able to pick her up, and I think they also pushed her, like tried to carry her out of the crowd, and like she was able to go into one of the side restaurants as well. And she was upset because she didn't get to thank the actor who helped her, or the guy who helped her. So, and then ended up finding out that it was the actor, but I think he ended up passing away in the crowd. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, how sad again. And I was sitting there, I'm like watching this girl, and she's like telling the story, and she's like bawling. I'm like, I give her props because I wouldn't be able to talk like that. At least because I think she's Korean too, so she's like talking about all this because I think this is the second major incident that happened after the ferry incident, if you guys remember that, with the students.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one was also, parents were like pissed, I think, at least at the government, but I think that can wait because that's a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
So 11 p.m. comes by, and then 30 more ambulances were finally dispatched, and then Halloween was finally called off at 11 p.m. And then stage 3 was ordered by the fire department, which is reserved for large-scale disasters because of this crowd surge. And then it was so bad to the point where medical staff would have to go around the crowds and say, do you know how to do CPR? Do you know how to do CPR? And then most of them who knew how to do CPR will go with the medical staff and like help them do CPR with all these people. But they're like, it's Halloween, so there are nurses and there are doctors in like costumes. Yeah, costumes. So that was also hard because you couldn't tell who was who.
Real, yes.
And so during this whole thing, I think there was rumored that there were people who were still partying at this time while this medical staff was like going around asking for people like to help. And so, man, those people.
Yeah, because it's so loud. I'm sure there were lots of people who were oblivious to what was happening.
Yeah, and then plus they were like, since they were partying, they were kind of blocking the streets and everything. And so like it was hard for medical team to go up there and do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was this Pakistan person. I think they came over there for something, and so they decided to go to Itaewon for Halloween, you know, because they never experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
But like when they got there and everything, she I don't know if it's no, I think it was a he. He saw the medical stuff there, so he went up to them and was like, I'm a nurse. Let me help you do CPR. So he basically the whole night was doing CPR on
Different people.
different people. So like by the time he got home, he was already traumatized. Not really home, but like to the apartment that he was at or like the rental area.
Mm-hmm.
He finally got home. He was traumatized, and then his wife called because they just have a newborn baby and everything. So he was sitting there. She was asking about his day, how everything was. And he just sat there. Was just like, everything's okay, you know, everything's good, you know, because he didn't want to like worry her because of what happened there. And then there was also rumored, or there was, I think there was a Korean couple, like I think a fiance. They're getting married. I think next month. I think they were supposed to get married in May 2023. They got stuck in the crowd surge, and I think the fiance was trying to give enough space to his fiance, the girl. But I think he passed out, and then because he passed out, they got separated. And so the nurses were saying that he needed medical attention, but he was like, "No, I need to find my fiance and everything." And then he saw her like on her body on the floor. He was trying to do CPR over and over, but it was just she was already gone. But he just did not want to leave her.
Oh my God!
And like in denial that she's gone, and so it was just sad, a sad story. I'm just like, so much sad stuff. And so they were saying majority of the victims were women because of their
How small?
how
they were?
small and deaky they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, like they're easily lifted up, and like, you know, they can't really do anything. Like
They're
I said,
suffocated because
Yeah.
two big men. Say if they were cornered in by all four big men,
Mm-hmm.
of course they would go up and then they'll get suffocated.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because there were majority of women. I think maybe there was a few men, but it was a lot more of women. And so I think there was a lady, a Chinese girl. She survived the surge. She was saying, cause I think she was also saying because she was tall and taller than most women,
Mm-hmm.
so she didn't get like lifted up, you know. But like she was saying that it was so crowded to where she like, her neck was stuck looking at like people like a certain area. She couldn't like turn her neck at all. And so basically
That's how tight it was.
yeah, she like that. And then she said that she was forced to watch people die because she couldn't move her neck. So she witnessed so many people dying. And then she also said like she felt like a lot of fluids coming on her back and everything.
Mm.
And she did not know that it was like blood from everything because of everyone suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, yeah, they were saying a lot of victims did like vomited and everything, all that coming out because of suffocation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I was
their
just-
bodies convulsing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so she ended up seeking medical help because she was saying she was still struggling to breathe. And so she was diagnosed with necrosis. You know what that is, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was a lack of blood flow in your tissues, which caused
Dead tissue, basically.
Yeah, dead
now.
tissue, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so luckily for her, hers was, I think, in her legs. So lucky for hers, it didn't like completely die off. So I think she just,
Was she able to keep her leg?
yeah, she was able to keep her leg. So
Okay.
I think they were slow. Yeah, they just had to monitor it, I guess, because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like fully like dead, but she didn't need to have it removed because it wasn't like
Dead.
like increasing. Is that what you say? Like it wasn't like moving upwards or anything.
Right.
Mhm.
So it just stayed where it was. So the total of people who died was 159 people died. 26 of them were foreign citizens. 102 were women and 57 were men. So, and then they said 158 people died of suffocation, and then one died of suicide. because I think the story of the suicide was, I think him and his two friends both went to the Itaewon for partying, and his two friends died, but he survived. So he felt so bad.
Survivor's guilt.
Yeah, and so he ended up taking his own life because of that.
Survivor's guilt is real, y'all. It's
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah, he couldn't take it anymore. And then there were also 196 people physically injured. And so after all this happened, all the things that were left in the alleyway, they were 123 bags, 258 clothing items, and 256 pairs of shoes that parents had to go and claim as their kids' belongings. And I'm just like, oof. Imagine going there, because there are videos of parents going to go claim their belongings, and then you can see how like they break and then they fall, and they're so devastated of seeing their kids' stuff. But
Yes,
yeah.
that's because something as simple as that could have been easily prevented if police had taken their job seriously. You know, it's something that should not have happened. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm a parent. I'll be beating up some popos that night.
Yeah, it's like it's
Suing the city.
Yeah, suing the city.
yeah, it's like it's not like the parents didn't know where they were at. They knew that their kids were at this place.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, for them, just seeing their kids, like, maybe, like, an hour before they left,
Mm-hmm.
and then hearing about this incident, of course, I would probably be pissed, too. And so, like, around this time, funeral homes were also filled. So, like, there'll be one person in one room, or one boy in one room, and then his friend will probably be, like, next door, also having his ceremony. And then the boy's girlfriend is probably just down the street in the next funeral home.
Oh
So
my God.
so like these friends who were friends with these people will go to one person, they'll cry and weep and do their thing, and then they're not going home because they have other people
Yeah,
to
they
visit.
have the other
They'll
people.
go to the other friend, do the same thing, and then go to the next. And I'm just like,
Imagine like
devastating.
going to one funeral is hard enough, but then you have to go to like all 5 of your friends' funerals
yeah,
in the same day, possibly. That's hard in itself. That would be a breaking point to a lot of people.
yep. And so I'm just like, although funeral people were no, what, at least they got money. I think people, like the funeral people, like, at least we got money. But then, like, that thing, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
But what rumor was saying that they were there during this incident, there were people pushing in the crowd. So, netizens, how they do their job. They, like, were searching for people to blame, because survivors were saying that there were people who were saying, like, to push and, like, and everything during the crowd thing. So netizens, they were, like, looking for people to, like, blame.
So they were blaming the survivors?
No, like, because I think some of the survivors were, like, would say, like, I heard there were certain people saying, like, to push in the crowd so they can get through, not realizing what was happening in the alleyway.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
they were saying that those people were probably responsible. They were just finding someone to blame for everything.
Yeah.
And so netizens, they like to get on the case first rather than, like, everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were, like, trying to find people. There was this, like, rumor about, like, this guy in a bunny suit that was saying, like, yelling to push. And so, you know how crazy netizens are. They were able to find that dude. And that dude was like, no, I left before that happened. And so, and then, like, for the trains, the subway stations, they have, like, tickets, like, with their time on it. and so
Timestamp?
like timestamp. So he he brought that up as proof that he's like, no, I left before
The incident.
the
happened.
whole incident happened. And so he basically proved himself that he wasn't the responsible one for that. So, and then I think like back to that in the very beginning when I said about the Yongsan province. I think there were labor protests happening in the Yongsan province, which is I think, not that far from Itaewon. And so because of that, the government, I think, I forgot who, I think I think it was like maybe the governor or someone important was in Yongsan. So they had what is it? They had all their police officers and all their crowd search officer experts there.
Oh.
That's why not many popos were over in the Halloween thing. But that's the thing. Well, like I would think they would at least have a certain amount of police officers to actually be there.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that why there's a bunch of districts? Why there's a bunch of district officers and what district you're at? So
Yeah.
That way, like, if you are going to be at one district, then that district takes care of it. If you're going to be at this district, and this district takes care of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's exactly
So-
why there's.
Yeah. So
Different
why would
districts.
you take, let's say, district? If this happened in District A and your important person's in District D, why take District A people to go
Add to District
add to
D.
D when technically District D should be the one who's handling it because that's where he's at?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Right? Mhm.
like, I think apparently there was supposed to be at least 200 police officers in Itaewon around that time, but only 137 on duty were around that area around that time. I guess the protest was just that big of a deal
Where they had to call in more
where
people.
they had to call in more people because
Oh.
they've probably provided the reports, how many reports were reported for the Halloween incident. So between 6 to 8 p.m., 28 reports were reported for about the Halloween thing, and then between 8 to 10 there was 51 reports to the police station. And then so the 28 and the 51 report, that was the one I said only 4 officers were dispatched to go look at the alleyway.
situation,
Yeah, the
yeah.
situation. And then during the actual incident, there was total 79 reports. And that's when they finally stepped in and brought everything in.
I figured that, okay, I don't know. I'm ignorant to this. I don't know how police works. Okay, I don't know
Over
how
there.
that works. Okay, just here in general, I don't know how it works. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, but if it's been for me personally, if more than like 3 or 5 people have come to me saying that, hey, I think you guys need to go check this out,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that then be like, oh shit, let's go check it out? Because more than like 3 or 5 people
Yeah.
are saying something, but it took them, what'd you say?
Like over 80, maybe. About
Yeah, a
80.
lot more.
No, like
than
the
that.
first 6 to 8.
Between 6 to 8 p.m., that's a 28 report.
Yeah, 28 reports already. That's
Oh,
why I'm
yeah.
like, see, why didn't you guys just go out? It's been 28 reports within the last 2 hours. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I see what you mean, and I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of people are
Are
blaming.
mad.
Yes, mad
Yeah.
and blaming the police because, yeah, they agree. There was 28 reports, like you said, within 2 hours.
Yeah, that should have been enough for a whole team of y'all
Mm-hmm.
to go out there. Not just 4 people. A whole team of you guys should have gone out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Yongsan, it was their president's office. So the rally was at the president's office. That's why there was that many people in Yongsan, or police officers. But still, majority of Itaewon's police officers were directed over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says here on your paper, 1,100 police officers were at the rally,
Mm-hmm.
and 4,700 highly trained crowd control officers were near the president during the protests.
Yeah, and during that time, none of them were sent
to Itaewon.
to Itaewon.
I
during
think
that
everybody
time.
just brushed it off a lot.
Because they just
shit.
brushed it off as for like kids partying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just kids partying.
Kids
It's just
partying,
a bar,
people were
restaurant
drunk.
area. It's normal.
Yeah, but then there was something about the police chief about this thing. Okay, his
His
story.
theory?
Yeah, like he was investigated. So his story was he arrived at 10:15 and took charge instantly of this whole incident. But from what they were saying was around 8 p.m. he was overseeing the protest rally. And then after 8 p.m., him and his fellow officers went to a restaurant, for them to eat and drink, from around 9:24. And then they also said that he decided to drive to the station, which at this time, Korea and their traffic, it takes like
Forever.
forever for them to get there, when it was just a 10-minute walk to the station.
So you're saying that he deliberately avoided all of this.
Yeah, he decided to drive.
Is it allegedly, or is this like confirmed?
Proved. Yeah.
It's confirmed, yeah, because it was investigated, so he decided to drive to the station and did not arrive until 10:55 to the station.
Did he do that like on purpose,
That's what
or
I'm
was it
asking.
because like
Yeah,
he was
that's-
drunk and didn't
That's
realize
that's the
how?
that's the conspiracy theory.
That's a conspiracy because they don't know
that he did it on purpose.
He did it on purpose because he purposely. I think at this time they already told him about what was happening at Itaewon.
Yeah,
but
by
he
that
went-
time, from 8 to 10, already 51 people.
Yeah, so
51
I'm
reports
pretty sure he was already aware, and then he decided to go to the restaurant
to go eat.
Because he didn't think it was a
typical
big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't think it was a big deal.
And then I'm gonna drive instead of do a 10-minute walk.
Yeah, it was
To it.
it was an hour drive to the station for him to respond to this incident. Rather he could just walk a 10-minute walk to the station. So that was already fishy for people.
So he sat in traffic for an hour
While people died.
Yes, that's
while
what
people
it was.
died.
And so,
Wow.
So that's what threw people off. And so he never asked like for extra security for Itaewon's this incident.
Oh, hell to the no.
And then, and so they were just figuring out what the hell happened. And so they investigated all that. And so they confirmed that he didn't leave the other restaurant until 9:24. And then he decided to drive to the station rather than walk that 10-minute walk.
Oh, hell to the no.
Yeah, and he decided not to send anything either for the Itaewon because he was already informed about this. And so they did an investigation. So they ended up arresting him, I think, along with another police officer, another chief, but I don't remember what chief it was. I have it written as the sole chief, but I don't know how their
Hierarchy.
how that works. Their hierarchy works.
I'm
Chain
pretty
of
sure the
command.
Seoul chief is the chief of all of the city of Seoul, which Itaewon is in. So
Yeah.
that chief is probably like the Itaewon Providence.
Yeah. So I
And
figured
then-
it was one of those higher ups. but
Yeah.
Yeah, him and that chief was also arrested
Yep.
because of that incident.
Yep. Get him.
And so I don't know. What do
Those
y'all
are the
think
people
about
that got the blame for it. Then,
Yeah,
basically?
he got arrested. They got arrested, and then the parents were just so upset. Like I said, because
It's not enough.
yeah. And so on the video, she was saying like a lot of the parents felt so bad, and they couldn't do anything. And so I think there was one dad that he found out that both of his daughter's arms were broken. When he was there to identify her
Oh my god.
at the hospital. And so I was just like,
Wait, two of his daughters?
no,
Oh,
his daughter, both of the
the
arms of
are
his
broken.
daughter.
Okay.
Oh.
I had to
Okay.
read, like, I had to sit there and like
He
listen.
found out his daughter's arms were broken.
Okay.
when she passed away.
Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
so,
Because it was that tight of a squeeze to where, like you said, the girls that are like small and tiny and light. So when they were pressed together, like they were lifted. Of course, therefore.
So they're dangling there.
So they're dangling there while people are pushing.
mm-hmm.
And
And it's
when
a
you-
slope too. Keep
Yeah, and
doing
it's a
that.
slope. So, because I don't know if a lot of people, when you're dangling like that, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Okay? You cannot breathe when you're
'cause
dangling.
I heard that. I think she was also saying that and when you're in a crowd surge, it's best to have your arms up here to bring space for your lungs to breathe. but not many people could do that
do that.
because it was that tight to where they couldn't move their arms.
I'm sure it happened quickly too,
Yeah.
and people just panicked. Yeah, so with her arms like this to her sides, yeah, of course they're going to break.
Yeah.
That-
Even if
how
it's
hard they
on
were
the side
squeezing.
or if it's like up
Yeah.
here, you know, because people said like they were trying to like grab their phones and everything, like to contact and everything, but they couldn't because it was just that tight. And then there was also another couple parent where she was confused because like I think her son and his friends went to this incident and he ended up passing away. But she didn't understand because her son goes to the gym every day, you know. He's well fit and everything, but she just didn't understand why, even though he worked out so much, that it didn't help him, you know.
No, because people push on each other, and when they're in panic,
It does
they're
not
gonna-
work
yeah.
when 4 big people are blocking you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't breathe.
You
Well,
can't
it's actually
breathe.
more than
It's-
4 people. It's the weight of everybody behind
Yeah,
you.
it's
Right,
and in
yeah,
it's
front of you,
physics.
yeah.
So where like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how built you are. It's just how like tight it is.
It's just like a
breathing.
water dam. You can build it as strong as you want, but all that water getting pressed into that dam,
Eventually,
at one
yeah.
point it's going to break. It's going to bust.
Mm-hmm.
So what
I
do
mean,
you
I
do?
feel-
You
I
got to
feel-
control the water around
Yeah,
it.
you know, I feel for her though. You know,
Yeah.
she's just in
Yeah.
shock and like denial. Like, no, there's no way because you know my son was so fit.
Yeah, no.
You know, so I understand her way
Oh.
of thinking. Because I would be the same way. If my kid was like that, I'd be like, no, there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, he goes to the gym. He's very strong and like muscular. There's no way. You know?
Yeah, I think I've heard that. I think they're still trying to like investigate all this too because, like I said, the chiefs have been arrested and everything, but I think they're still like maybe still trying to dig to figure out why there was not enough police officers dispatched over there. So
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
yeah, because I think from what they were saying about the ferry incident was that all of I think this I think surrounding countries offered help, you know, like to help them and everything, but South Korea, you know, them in their pride, they don't want any help. They don't want to look weak, you know, so they denied any assistance from the surrounding countries. So that pissed off the parents because of
And
that
these-
incident.
And these kids on the ferries, these were kids.
Yeah,
These
those were
like,
kids.
Like middle school kids. They weren't adults. They were middle school kids on like a school.
I don't know
Trip,
the
I think?
details on that, but I
Yeah,
just
something
know
like
that it
that.
was a very big incident that happened in South Korea.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of that, the government was already kind of
In hot water.
in hot water for that. And then this happens, and that's when the parents were pissed because they didn't provide enough police officers and patrol for this incident because they knew how crazy it was going to be because it's the first event after the COVID restriction was lifted.
Yeah.
But yet they still did not do anything about it. But I think there were other rumors that some police officers did bring this topic up, that maybe we should work on this part too. But then they kind of brush it off because of the labor protests that were happening,
Yeah.
and so those officers couldn't really do anything either because I guess their opinion didn't really
Was
matter
this
at
the
the time.
president of the company that they're protesting that was there, or was this like the president as like
I'm
the
thinking
president
it's
of
the
South
actual
Korea?
president because
Of South Korea?
yes, because
Oh.
this involved the government. So
But wouldn't you want like military people to be there if it's
military
the
was
president?
there.
I know, so that's why I'm like, but why would you take
It's
from
like, then what
other-
do you? Yeah. Then what do
Why
you need
would you
the extra
take-
police
that's
for?
what I'm
Like I said, unless that protest was that big,
I don't know.
It
I
We'll
don't know
have
how
to look into
I don't know
it
how
and see.
Yeah.
politics work, but
either
it's
that big or
just-
because I think it wasn't just that protest. I think there were multiple protests happening at the same time, but that one specifically was right by the president's office.
Oh.
And so
okay, I
that
see.
was their main priority at that time. So that's why they
Well,
brushed off.
shit,
They brushed
still.
off this incident.
You guys want to hear something that will make you hate the police even more
What?
about this incident?
What?
I don't know if you guys have seen it. I saw it on TikTok. I don't know. I don't remember if I sent
don't
it
know
to
if
you
I
guys
I don't
or
think
not.
so.
But I saw on TikTok that in this alleyway, there's like a little store that this little old man owns,
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
and he was there when all this happened.
I think it was the day after, wasn't it? If I'm
Yeah,
recalling.
yeah. But during that he was there, and I think he tried to save some of the kids too.
Oh.
But after all this happened, it was like the day after, and after a crime scene or whatever, it's blocked off. No one can be in that area while they're like still searching or cleaning or whatever that they're doing.
Right.
But he happened to be there because he owns the shop, and you see him come out with a plate of food and some little drinks and incense,
Oh.
and he places it out on the street for all the kids
Who passed?
who passed.
Yeah, I think he put the food there, and he started to bow, and sit there.
Bow, give them respect, let the kids eat, because they're hungry or whatever.
Yeah.
And these dumbass popos are walking up to him saying, "Hey, you can't be here. You can't be putting that stuff out." And he was like ignoring them, and he was still sitting there, kneeling there, kind of talking or saying stuff or whatever. And they're over here yelling at him like, "No, get him out. He's not supposed to be here," or whatever. And the old man got super irritated and angry, and he's all like, "Don't you be saying that. This food here is for the kids. Don't touch the food," because like the police were trying to take
Oh.
the
They're
food,
trying to take
food
Yeah.
and the drinks and everything, like to move it out of the way. And he's like, "Don't you dare touch that food. It is out for the kids. The kids need to eat." And you can hear in his voice how broken he is.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh my God, that's so sad and so heartbreaking. So you hear the cops like trying to get him out, and he's over here yelling. And then he made such a big fuss to where like other cops came in, and they were like, okay, he's getting a little hysterical. Just let him do his thing. And then when he's done, we'll clean this up.
Yeah.
I think also I was reading that I think the officer that was telling him, the first officer that was telling him that he couldn't be doing that, I think he ended up breaking down with him too at the same time, because the way he said, like, these kids have been through so much, they need to rest, let them eat and everything. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, how sad. Because I think she provided a video, and then you can hear the old man. He's like, how he is, how devastated he is. And I'm just like, oh. It's like, yeah, let them eat. Let him do his thing, But, yeah. I mean, that's all they can do,
Right.
Yeah, I just thought that was very heartbreaking, and just made me want to punch those cops even more. So,
yeah. You guys have any other thoughts on this? Anna, you've been quiet this whole time.
Just trying to listen. And because my voice is really hoarse from allergies.
I don't know, man. It's upsetting. So upsetting. It could have been all avoided easily, but
Yeah, the fact that
wasn't this around the same time as the Astro World?
this
The
was
thing,
on
the incident that happened like the same year.
It was the same year, yeah.
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 That also happened
Astroworld
too.
people got trampled over
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, because
It
people
was
were.
it was the same thing that was happening throughout that year.
Yeah. I think this was on the 29th that they specifically said. So.
Yeah, I don't remember when that Astroworld happened, but
But yeah.
Do you guys think, speaking of Astro World, how people were saying that it's who was the performer?
somebody's baby daddy.
Kylie
Um,
Jenner. No,
No, it's not.
isn't Kylie Jenner's boyfriend, husband?
Is it Tyga?
No.
No,
No.
not that one.
I
The
forgot
other
who it
one.
was.
The other one.
Is
I don't
it
know.
Travis something?
Yes, Travis Scott.
Travis Scott. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so people were like, is it fair to blame him?
No, there's a lot of components that go.
Yeah.
The reason why people blame him, though, is because they said that, like, he encourages rage like that. It's like, come on, guys, let's jump, let's do that. But it's kind of like, it's more than one person. And he probably, and people sued him only, but I feel like it's also the people that are in charge of Astro, like, World, the security. Because that's the face of it. But then there's security, what do they do, and people do pass out a lot. After that event, almost at every concert now, the performer stops everything
Right.
to make sure, because they don't want to get blamed like Travis did.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's also just because you're the performer, so you can see higher up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, that's why
And
some people
so-
were saying some can see. So
Yeah.
they're saying, like, did he not see? Did he not, like, like, what happened? And
Right.
nobody knows. Like,
'Cause-
apparently he didn't know. Allegedly, he didn't know until after. But I was like, but you can.
You can see them.
I don't know if you can see, but they were saying, like, the barriers at the very, very end broke down and people got trampled over. But that's why I'm like, dang, how much security was there?
Not much.
Yeah.
Apparently not much.
But I just think it's not fair, personally, to just blame him only. You got to blame
Right.
the management, the security, because it takes more than one person or one team to ensure that everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was also, they said for this, after this incident, Itaewon kind of basically died down. So they lost business there. And not
Well,
many
yeah.
people go over there anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't want to either.
Yeah. So I'm
Well,
just
because
like,
they're like, well, if something were to happen to me, I know I'm going to die because nobody's going to want to come. Nobody's going to come save us.
yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
how they feel, honestly.
So
Have
It's
they? Oh, it's like I don't think you will know. Like, have they upped security there? Because I would still feel like,
I
you
don't
would
even
need
know
a
if they
few
get that good of
officers.
business down there anymore.
Right.
After this. Because, I mean, technically it was just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that was a few months ago.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Like
only
less
April.
than eight
Yeah, this happened
months.
in
6
October.
months.
Yeah.
November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, about less than 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Fresh. Yeah.
So it's still fresh. So I'm pretty sure.
It's going to take the community over there for a while to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously they haven't healed from the ferry. That
No.
was in what? 20.
2018.
I wouldn't say 2014, but
Yeah, it's like one of those even numbers.
Yeah, that was back there, and they're still
Yeah.
pissed about that.
Well, I don't know.
But,
Oh.
well, that's all I had today for this episode.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Down in the comments below, or DM us, or whatever.
Condolences to all the families out there. Everybody who lost a loved one during this time. It could have been easily prevented, but
A lot more people could have, should have been saved.
yeah.
You know, it was I feel like it was a very simple fix that just needed some manpower. So,
I mean, we felt that crowding just in Miami, and I was already like,
Yeah. Oh my God. No,
no.
we were out.
If y'all going partying, if it's like you that tight, y'all should leave.
Yeah. No.
yeah, if two people's touching me and I get my feet stepped on, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be safe out there when y'all go partying.
Yeah. Be safe. If it looks like you can't go through, don't go through it. Go the long way. Okay. It's
Yeah,
not.
go
It's
around.
not worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be pushy, because then if you push, other people will push, and then someone's gonna fall, and it'll start a domino effect, just like it did
Yeah.
in Itaewon. So, but yeah, just be safe, y'all.
Yep, and that is the end of episode 16. Y'all play smart.
Be smart. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.